DeLuca might be able to chime in. Do we have anything new with the roof damage, the roof blown off, and anything else?
That's something we're continuing to follow here. And Jeremy was, you know, this is one of those things about social, Jeremy, we talk about a lot. You were able to discover this pretty early on.
Yeah, I did get a report from...
New tornado warning?
New tornado warning.
Okay, Jeremy, before we jump into that, I'm assuming...
It's going to be where we just pinpointed that curlicue.
Okay,
right,
so that is the
Newcastle,
storm I warned about.
Eminence.
So that's exactly what I called here. When we get these northern edge storms that are on the northern side of a Boeing segment, we tend to get tornado spin-ups. Jude and I kind of talked about this. I'm telling you, every time I see a Boeing segment like this and you start to get a breakdown on the line, every single time you get a tornado. I called it about 15 or 18 minutes ago, and that's exactly what's occurring right now. It looks like we probably have a tornado spin-up that's occurring just on the east side of Newcastle here. So we're noticing rotation here. National Weather Service feels justified at this point to issue the tornado warning, and I think it's actually fully legit. Jude called it the curlicue just a second ago. That's exactly what happens here. What occurs, just so you know, the segment pushes out so far ahead of the storm that ultimately what happens here is you get the winds really, really strong on that southern edge, and it can cause that rotation. So the tornado warning here is now in effect for Henry County. It would be east of the Eminence area, and it's going basically just over Bethlehem. If you live in Bethlehem, take your tornado safety precautions. Not in 5 minutes, not in 3 minutes. Now, this is going to be rain wrap. If you go outside and you try to do the, hey, I want to look at the storm, you're not going to see anything. I mean, you're just not. It's going to be rain wrap. So this is just a storm where I'm going to ask you, let's just bring it inside. Let's not look out the window and play that one. This is not worth it because we've had some damage here reported in our area. This is going to put it in Slabtown 6 minutes from now, in Gratz in 10 minutes from now, and Owenton 18 minutes from now here. So the storm going through Henry County is the one that's under a tornado warning right now here. If you live in Henry County and you can hear me, leave the TV up. If you want to follow me on Facebook or Twitter, we're going to continue to update you there. Just leave the TV high. We've also got streaming coverage for you online here. So you've got multiple media sources. The reason we have pushed and gone so far in pushing our social media is it gives you the ability, whether you're in your tornado safe spot, whether you're driving, whether you're anywhere, you're going to stay plugged in. This is the way we're going to do things. We're going to get the information to what we refer to as multi-platform. No matter how you get the information, we're going to make sure we're there for you. Pleasure, it's in 2 minutes. Cull 14 minutes from now. Owenton 18 minutes. And Holiday Ford 30 minutes from now here. Jude, how long is that tornado warning staying in effect for?
Let's get the latest tornado warning. That's going to be for Henry County until 5:25, so we have another 15 minutes.
Okay, that's a short duration.
Rain wrap, possible tornado, Doppler radar indicated tornado moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. It's right on Newcastle, Slabtown, here it comes. Drennan Springs, here it comes.
So that, you know, that's exactly what we saw. Boeing segment, breakdown into an individual supercell. And normally, Jude, when you break down into individual supercells like this, you normally have a window of around 15 minutes before you lose that opportunity here. So that's something we'll continue to watch. Normally, you know, just as I said, when I analyze radar in these particular situations, what normally happens is the segment will have the opportunity to produce a quick tornado, and then ultimately what happens is that it kind of collapses around itself and collapses down, and that normally reduces that tornado threat shortly thereafter. So that's something, excuse me, something we're going to watch real closely here. Rick and Jeremy will continue to blog those from the media center here, and Jude and I will continue our analysis of the storms. Jude, let's take this out also and not forget the rest of our area here. So I want to talk about southern Indiana quickly and grab a quick drink of water, as we've been doing this for 4 hours or so now. Southern Indiana, Jude, I would say we're just talking about rain. It's going to be a messy drive, but you know what? From a standpoint of severe weather, you know what, I'm not concerned anymore. I think your show is generally over, and I think we're going to hang on to a slim severe weather risk for Carroll County, but you know, most of that's moving through, and the area that's moving through Henry County and then ultimately Shelby County, the southern side, Shelby County, that's probably not going to produce the huge winds because that's the tail of that Boeing segment.
And talking about where we have the tornado warning in Henry County, the National Weather Service has gone severe thunderstorm warning in Owen County, just for the simple fact that it doesn't necessarily have that pronounced look. It was brief, There's still some rotation, but it will most likely lose that in the coming minutes. Right now, still strong enough that a possible tornado could be ongoing, but looks like it peaked a couple minutes ago over Newcastle and now extending towards Owen County, where we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Shelby County, it's more of a straight line wind right over Shelbyville. Along 64, that's going to the east-northeast, and then down to the south, Mark, pressing east of I-65 now. You can see those areas of red, which would indicate the best chance for wind damage.
So Wadi Paytona exit along 64. You've got about 4 minutes or so till that severe is in your area with 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's a good point of reference here in Shelby County. Notice the line breaks as we go off to the south, and we get out of severe here now as we go towards Taylorsville. We squeeze our way back into severe as we go towards Campbellsville. We've got a new tornado warning here just issued now for Columbia. First off, this is Adair County, the farthest southern county in our area. Second off, what I want you to note is that storm is still a distance from the county. This is one of the longer duration tornado warnings. Notice it's longer. So what they feel is more confident that it could produce a tornado. So that's something that we're going to watch here closely in the coming scans. The radar itself has been persistent, Jude, in showing some rotation near Munfordville, but I'm not sure I necessarily buy that. And then the tornado warning as we move towards Columbia, I think somewhat is based as I look at this, somewhat based on this little notch that's occurring right where you're tracking. That's going to get into Edmonton in 7, and then Weed in 16, and Gradyville into Adair County in 19. Jude, that area does show some signs of rotation in that area. That's something that we're going to watch here. Jeremy is now pulling images from StormView 3D, and we're going to be able to take that and pop that on the blog here. So if you're going to go to your safe spot, I would say this crosses the county line into Adair County. Looks to me like 13 or 14 minutes. So it banks up against Columbia, but does not, let me make sure here, it banks right up to the edge of Columbia. And that tornado warning is going to stay in effect. Let me read you the latest, by the way, on that. Stays in effect until 4:40 Central or 5:40 Eastern. So 4:40 Central or 5:40 Eastern. Storms moving off, rocketing to the northeast at 55. Possible tornado indicated by radar. And by the way, it does bank up to Columbia, so Columbia is included in that tornado warning here. And Jude's circling that area. Jude, one thing to note is we're farther away from the radar when we're looking at this storm. So that means we're looking at closer to 4,000 feet. When we're talking about the storm that was in Elizabeth, we were talking about 500 feet. So there's a very, very big difference here from 500 feet off the ground to 4,500 feet off the ground.
Yeah, we're looking way up in the storm cloud where there is some strong rotation, but even if the tornado doesn't verify in Adair County, with what we're seeing on the radar, you could have tornadic-like winds because we could approach 70 miles per hour with some of those wind speeds coming out of that severe storm. This particular area has had a history of producing some damage back into western Kentucky as it moved through the Hopkinsville area. We're going to give you a wide perspective. A lot of people, even more people, getting up now as it's time to get ready for work and school. It's 5:14. If you're watching from Louisville Metro, heavy rain, the severe threat is over. Jefferson, Floyd, Clark County, Oldham County. We are now seeing some heavy rain. The severe storms are out of Oldham County. Tornado warning does continue for Henry County, but I've got to say that rotation that popped on the Doppler radar is not as evident. Still a threat with straight line winds and a possible, brief touchdown. But right now,
normally when you get those curlicues on that, Jude, like we said, the cold air fills in underneath it real quickly, and normally that spin up the window there is not that long. We recall the tornadoes that occurred on a similar situation January last year. The window only was open for about a county, and then it closed, kind of snapped down on it. So I think we're probably looking at that storm winding down. On top of that, Jude, it looks like it's about to breach the county line and head out of our viewing area into Owen County.
Spencer and Nelson County has an interesting feature, sort of a little mini bow where
new warning too,
as we go into Taylorsville with that new severe thunderstorm warning, looking at a straight line wind possibility that could exceed 60 to 65 miles per hour. Again, this is going to work from Bardstown to Taylorsville, off to the east-northeast, eventually impacting the state capital up in Frankfort. You can see what I have highlighted. I'll put a storm track on this and take it off to the east-northeast, covering that entire new severe thunderstorm warning. Taylorsville, it's on you. Veach, you have a couple minutes. Wayside, about 10 to 15 minutes. Harrisonville, about 15 minutes. Hickory Grove, 20 to 30 minutes. And the state capital in Frankfort, you have a half an hour So if you know anyone over in Franklin County, alert them that severe winds are moving your way. Again, it is 5:15. We're looking at severe weather now east of I-65. Candyce and Sterling have been getting numerous reports of power outages, and they are going to give us an update with what we're looking at right now.
Let me show you the map from LG&E, and you'll see scattered little triangles that will show you that power is out all across the Louisville metro area. Everywhere you see a light blue cluster of triangles, those are scattered outages. They're small. The biggest right now is at Hillview, northern Bullitt County, 2,500 customers affected there. Another big one is Indian Hills area in Jefferson County, that's just inside the Watterson Expressway off of Brownsboro Road, about 1,200 customers there. Those are your two biggest outages. Here in the dark blue, you're talking 51 to 500 customers out. Right here between Shively and PRP, about 162 customers, and then out south of the Gene Snyder, 64 customers. But again, Hillview is the big one with 2,500 customers without power. We want to emphasize again, there are delays, school delays at this hour. There are some delays in southern Indiana, and you can find those at WDRB.com. Some of the bigger ones, Clarksville Community, Greater Clark, West Clark Schools, Floyd County. Floyd County Head Start is closed, but all the others are on 2-hour delay. New Albany Floyd County Schools, 2-hour delay. You can see those on our website. And Rachel Collier just sent a message back. She is checking out damage near Elizabeth, Indiana. She's gone to check out those reports that we've gotten into the newsroom. Harrison County, she's headed that way. And she also says you can feel a huge temperature drop since the storm moved through. We're all stuck inside, haven't been able to go outside and experience that, but she says it's a very noticeable drop in temperatures. And then, of course, later this morning, Jude will explain what's coming behind this storm system.
And JCPS, you are open and on time, so no delays there. Get up, go to school. All right, let's kick it back to Marc Weinberg, who's standing by.
And one thing I want to say is, Candyce, I haven't worked with you in a while.
It's a long time. Good to see you.
Looking across the area here, we continue with some strong thunderstorms moving across the area. We've got a line of severe weather on storms that continue to move into the eastern part of our area. We're not looking at that storm in the county yet for Columbia, for Adair County, Gradyville, Columbia. We're going to watch that real closely. Jeremy's monitoring our social side of things. Let's get about a minute or so update, 30-second update from Jeremy, and then we're going to come back and do a track up and down that line. We're not going to forget about you from Lebanon, from Springfield, from Greensburg, from Columbia. We're going to track you just like we track Louisville.
Okay, Mark, a Facebook report coming in from Sherry Waters onto our WDRB weather page, and she says a relative of hers was trying to make it back home after seeking shelter at her house. And there's reports that Edwardsville-Galena Road near Floyd Central High School and Highland Hills Middle School was not passable due to downed trees. This is actually very close to where I live. There are a lot of tall oaks in that area and maples, and it looks like the roads right there may not be passable. So keep that in mind if you are making your way towards the high school or towards Galena this morning. Some tree damage. If you have damage reports, by the way, you'd like to pass along, please send them to me, Jeremy Kappell, WDRB. I'm easy to find on Facebook, or send me a message on Twitter.
You know, it's funny, there's people that are actually posting on Twitter right now that I need a nap and need a little bit of tea. I don't think my voice is going to hold up here that much longer, but you know, we're going to stay through the storm. We stay through the night. I mean, we just do this because, you know, we just want to get the information out there. I say this a lot of times, you know, when I'm sitting here in the middle of the night, or there's no severe weather, but I'm just a little bit worried, and I stay here till 2 or 3 in the morning. You know, we just have a deep commitment to our community, and we care, and that's what this whole thing comes down to. In the end of the day, I think all 4 of my guys here have devoted their time and their lives to helping protect our community. So it's a cool thing to be in this department. Let me show you what's going on as we move up and down the line right now. We have the area that's kind of moving out of Henry County. I don't see the rotation left with this storm, and I see the core of that storm out of the county. Weather Service is probably going to make a move here to drop this warning shortly. We'll watch that. But what happened is the storm became undercut by cold air. The window of opportunity on the northern lines of these Boeing segments is narrow. You get really only about 30 to 45 minutes at most before the cold air just comes underneath and shuts the show down here. So New Liberty, Owenton, this is out of our area. That storm we're saying goodbye to. We're still talking about the potential for strong storms here as we move further south of that. Now look, southern Henry County, I still think you're going to deal with 60-mile-per-hour winds, so I don't want to take you off that part of the equation. We've got a break in the line here from Shelbyville and from Christiansburg. Now I want to watch this area here. Many times when the lines segment themselves or break apart, you can get spin up. So I'm going to watch eastern Shelby County here closely. Jude, can you just pop me velocity on just here for a moment? I'd like to analyze that quickly for Shelby County. Looking at that right now here, I don't see anything that jumps out at me at tornado potential, but I am a little bit concerned here about this area near Taylorsville. Notice the brighter colors here. That's an area of enhanced wind. So that area is going to be near Harrisonville in 15 minutes and near Hatton in 28 minutes. Frankfort, the state capital here for Kentucky, coming in 28 minutes, and Peaks Mill in 34 minutes. We'll head a little bit further to the south. We'll go back over to reflectivity and analyze the rest of that line here. Looking at Bloomfield, you'll notice that we're on the kind of the southwestern edge of that Boeing segment. Normally when this happens, your winds are going to pop under severe limits, so I'd say 50 to 55 maybe. I like Willisburg in 22 minutes for the storms. It's going to be in Thompsonville coming up in 27 minutes, in Lawrenceburg 33 minutes from now. We'll watch your areas real closely. Moving down that line here, we get more towards where we've been into the more concerning edge of that line. The southern part of the line has shown some still life left in it, and we see what is somewhat of a Boeing segment here. It's not intense in terms of bows, but nonetheless, it's still strong enough. I think it's going to produce damaging winds. Jude's going to track that part of the line here. Does include Campbellsville, does include the Greensburg area. So Campbellsville, 7 minutes from now, the county seat there, 25 minutes from now from Clementsville, and Dunnville, 30 minutes. Now, we still continue with a tornado warning here for Columbia, for Adair County. Let's zoom into Gradyville, Columbia area. And what I'd like to do, Jude, here is the area I'm concerned about is going to be right there. Jude, if you could, let me see velocity here real quickly. I'd like to see what we're talking about. Remember, if you remember earlier, I said the waves along the line are the areas that we tend to watch for. That's where you can get the spin-ups. Jude's actually showing you right near Edmonton one of the waves. Notice how that velocity data shows a wave. That's an area where I'm seeing rotation. So 7 minutes from now in Weed, Gradyville, 11 minutes. Columbia coming in at 18 minutes. Let's go over to Stormview 3D right now and look at how it looks on the analyst. We call this basically this is the thing that breaks down storms. You know, interestingly enough, Jude, that area near Munfordville still shows rotation, but Jude's picking that area up really well, as we just indicated. That's going to be crossing the county line here shortly, but it's kind of interesting. Let's go a little further to the north here, Jude, and you see what are multiple areas of rotation. A couple heading towards Greensburg. This is Greene County right now. One that's in the southern part of Greene that's ultimately going to squeeze its way into Adair County. And all of these, that little area of rotation there looks a little bit stronger. On the latest scan right now, maybe come down in intensity. But Jude and I have talked about this all night. Look, we've kind of had these quick spin-ups occur. It's, in my opinion as a meteorologist, look, I don't have to issue the warning, so I don't have to, I've got a little bit of a different protocol in a sense, but I can let you know what I'm thinking on the radar. And that's how I approach stuff like this. I see areas here that are waves along this line. It could at any moment produce a spin-up. So if you're in Greensburg, if you're in Campbellsville, you're not under a tornado warning. But look, as I see it, I say play it safe. You know what? Just go ahead and keep things away from the outside of the house. Go to an interior room, and you can play it safe because the area rotation, there's multiple areas moving right over Greensburg. Greene County, again, I've told you this a million times. It doesn't matter if it's Jefferson County or if it's any other county. We play you the same way. We give you the same attention here. So just north of Greensburg, I'm concerned about an area of rotation here. It's 4,000 feet off the ground, so that would say to us, normally when it's this high, I'd like to see more rotation to say definitively if there's a tornado. I don't necessarily think that we can say that in this type of a scenario, but we're looking along that line. Jude, the southern end of that line, something that we're going to have to watch here.
Yeah, and I'm going to bring you in closer and just run down a few of these city streets, some locators, just so you know what is in the path as we go towards Campbellsville with some of those waves or kinks where we talk about some of that weak rotation working from Greensburg. So near Campbellsville, as we look at Yorkshire Place, as we go towards Sherwood Park, Hodgenville Road. Sewer Treatment Plant Road, Animal Shelter Road. As we continue in that same vicinity, this is going to be State Road 210, again, Hodgenville Road, as we go to Fairview Road. Just a few areas that are in the path of nonetheless at least some straight line winds that could approach 60 and 65 miles per hour, but certainly at this point still not out of a tornado risk as we talk about some weak rotation. Still that tornado warning for portions of Adair County as we bring that off to the east-northeast. More of an east motion right now at 65 miles per hour. Louisville Metro, the severe weather threat is over. The heavy rain threat continues. Getting to work and school, you might not have severe winds, but you're going to drive through just a ton of water, blinding rain at times, and the interstates are going to be an absolute mess with the heavy rain coming down.
You know, that's one of the things here, Jude. We haven't had a chance to talk too much about the forecast. Obviously, you've got a 4-hour morning show, and another person hopefully don't plan to be here for that 4-hour morning show, but Jude's going to talk about this a little bit more. You know, the forecast is going to get a lot colder in the afternoon, and in the evening we could see some snow showers. You know, Jude, when we get severe weather events that move through our area, sometimes when they're in the cold season, we can get snow that occurs on the backside. One of the ones that jumps to mind, obviously, last year when we had snow on March 5th, 6th, but Thursday night, it looks like we're actually going to see some light snow move across our area. So the forecast is going to be quite interesting. We've got areas that we're watching with potential rotation in the southern part of our area. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings here continuing for Carroll County, for Shelby Spencer, for Nelson, Washington, for eastern LaRue County, for Marion, for Greene and Taylor. I think Greene and Taylor in particular, I think 60-mile-an-hour winds are definitely on the table. Stay away from the windows and be prepared for possibly some damage. And the wider shot here shows that area of snow showers that's now moving through Omaha, and actually in central parts of Iowa, we're seeing quite a bit of snow. Now, I don't think we're going to see quite a bit during the afternoon, but we are going to see those snow showers move into the area, and it's going to be blustery and cold. And Jude and I were talking about this outside of even the severe threat. You know, those winds are going to be going close to around 45 miles per hour during the afternoon hours. Now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back to our continuing weather coverage. We'll have updates for you throughout this morning's show, so keep it right here on WDRB for continuing updates. As we go through the morning, we'll be transferring once the storms leave our area back towards the normal WDRB in the morning, and I'll be honest, I'm going to transfer me back into bed so I can maybe repair my voice for a little bit later tomorrow. We continue with some strong thunderstorms here. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue in the eastern part of Shelby County, eastern part of Spencer County, for Washington and Kentucky, for Greene, for Taylor, and for, Greene, Taylor, and then also for Adair County. Now, Adair County has the tornado warning. What I want you to know is they've expanded the severe thunderstorm warning past Adair County. And normally what this means is the National Weather Service feels like it's not necessarily justified in the tornado scheme, and they're going to reduce back. But with that said, we've still got the greens and these blues next and reds next to each other here. So we're still getting rotation. The area of concern here, there's two areas, one that's moving through Gradyville and one that's going through Toria. Now, this is in the Columbia area here in the next couple of minutes. So take your tornado safety precautions in Columbia. 11 minutes that storm is going to be in your area as we go on. The southern one, Sparksville, take your tornado safety precautions. You've got 5 minutes till that storm's in your area. And Glens Fork, 13 minutes until that storm is in your area here. So we're going to continue to monitor this and watch as the severe storms continue to slide through. We kind of, when we cover severe weather, we have multiple aspects of what we do. We have what we refer to now as a media center. And the media center for our meteorologists is the way that they connect to you. They monitor Twitter, they monitor Facebook, and this gives them the ability to find out exactly what's going on from your reports. Now, Jeremy Kappell and Rick DeLuca have monitored our social side of things, and what we're going to do here is go to these guys and find out if we're getting any new information on any of our social channels or from the National Weather Service. Guys?
Yeah, Mark, quite a bit of information coming in to both from the National Weather Service and also on social media. Looking at a lot of reports here coming out of the Hillview area. Apparently a transformer was seen on fire. Power is out to the entire Hillview neighborhood. Also, power lines down in Ladies Yard in Middletown. Also, Mary Price says that electric is out on Carlton Drive in Fairdale. Has strong winds but no damage. LG&E apparently is already on her street looking for the problem. But it sounds like a lot of power outages across the area, and certainly I'm sure we'll be seeing more and more reports of trees down and limbs down. A bit earlier we did get the reports of trees down along the Galena-Edwardsville Road. That's near Floyd Central High School, where that road apparently is unpassable. Rick, I know you've been monitoring the National Weather Service. What are they saying? What type of reports are we getting there?
Right now, the damage reports, I mean, a majority of them coming down. Trees are down, power is going out in areas. Even a couple spots, Grayson County had a report of a small garage being blown into the road. So some serious damage going on.
Where was that at?
That was in Grayson.
Okay.
We're going to keep an eye on that one. But yeah, a lot of reports of roof damage. So it looks like a wide variety here, but a majority of it has power lines and tree limbs. Those are the main two.
And we've still got active warnings out there as well, especially for Grayson County. So now's probably a good time to... Okay, for Adair County, you say?
Yeah, Adair County is the one that still has the tornado warning in effect. That's one that we're watching here very, very closely. We'll continue with updates on that. Now, the other side of this, obviously, is that the storm came through the area and has done some damage here. We know that there's damage in the Elizabeth area, and what we're really trying to find out is the extent of that damage. We've got our Rachel Collier that's kind of hunting that and inspecting that, and Candace has been keeping an eye on power outages here. Candace, this is a real story here for the southern part of our of Louisville right now.
Right, and I should tell you, Rachel Collier says she's about 8 miles out of Elizabeth, Indiana. She just has seen a lot of heavy rain. Let's show you the outage map right now. This is LG&E's outage map. You can see the biggest outage is down here in Hillview. This is where we've got about 2,500 customers affected. We've gotten a lot of messages on Facebook and Twitter about this. The other biggest outage we're noticing is up here near I-71. This is Indian Hills, just inside the Watterson Expressway. Got about 1,246 customers affected there. You go up Highway 42 just a little bit. You're over near Barbara Meade, and we have customers without power there. Yellow would indicate that we have a little bit more in the way of outages. 540 customers affected up here in the Glenview, Barbara Meade area, just outside the Watterson Expressway at 71. And then if you look across the rest of the map, you'll see a lot of light blue. Those are scattered small outages. You see green and dark blue. And again, those are smaller outages with a handful of customers affected, but nothing major. The biggest one again is down in Hillview with about 25 customers without power. Sterling has an update on school delays, and we'll get to him in just a second. First, we'll check with Mike Marshall, find out about any road problems this morning. Mike?
All right, Candace, thanks. And of course, what we had to deal with mainly this morning, lots and lots of water out on the roadways. And that's going to make it a little tough. Coming into downtown, we already see the traffic a little heavy here on westbound 64, Story and Meldwood, then into the merger with I-71. Even coming out of Jeffersonville, that traffic is already lined up across the Kennedy Bridge. A little heavy. Then as we're getting into Hospital Curve, out near St. Catherine Street, Arthur Street, you can see the speeds look in pretty good shape, but I want to show you what it looks like here out on the roadways. This is 65 coming in through Hospital Curve. That's northbound 65. And as we look up around St. Catherine Street, a lot of water out on the roadway, and you want to watch pooling and ponding water, hydroplaning. That's the big problem this morning with all this water out on the interstate. So we'll be very, very cautious, and especially watch your areas for if your roadways are flood prone, you may have some water over top of those roadways as you're heading out this morning. From the Oxmoor Auto Group Traffic Center, I'm Mike Marshall with Beat the Traffic.
Mike, thank you very much for that update. We do want to update our viewers on some school delays this morning. Christian Academy of Indiana, you are on a 2-hour delay. Clarksville Community School, 2-hour delay. East Washington County, 2-hour delay. Floyd County Head Start, you are closed today. New Albany, Floyd County, 2-hour delay. Providence High School, Rock Creek, Southwest Jefferson, 2-hour delay. JCPS, you are open and on time. And if you want to find out this information, you can just go to our website, WDRB.com. Let's kick it to Chief Meteorologist Marc Weinberg. Hey, Mark.
Hey, guys. What we've had here over the last few minutes is a continuation of the tornado warning here. This is going to stay in effect until 5:45 Eastern or 4:45 Central. And this is for that storm that's moving towards the Columbia area right now. With that said, to me, it looks like the rotation is weakening somewhat. We see areas of rotation, one that's north of Campbellsville right now, From my estimates right now, I'm putting it 4 miles north of Campbellsville. I see another area south of Campbellsville with some rotation that's 7 miles. And then the area that's moving towards Columbia right now is basically within 2 miles of Columbia, is showing broad rotation. Judging from this is what we refer to more as diffuse. It's wider. But, you know, I think in the scenario that we've seen, quick spin-ups are on the table here. 11 minutes in Bradfordsville puts it in the second area that's south of Campbellsville. Casey Creek, 8 minutes. 17 minutes Evans Ford. And then the area near Columbia, we're putting that storm in Ozark in 6 minutes and Sycamore Flat in 16 minutes. At 5:37 this morning, we'll take a quick break. We'll continue with our weather coverage after this.
The threat for severe weather continues to the east of Louisville Metro. We have this line that goes from the state capitol. There's Frankfort all the way down Washington and Marion County, Greene, Taylor, Adair counties. Really Greene County now starting to see the worst of it press on through. Off to the east now at around 55 to 60 miles per hour. You look for this sliver of red, which is about 5 miles wide. That's where we have the wind concern that could reach 60 and 65 miles per hour. Severe thunderstorm warnings, Franklin County. Again, back down through the far eastern sections of Shelby County. This is ready to expire there. Farther to the south, Marion and Washington County, the wind threat is evident right now. Willisburg, Gravel Switch. We take you into Lebanon, right over Lebanon. Very heavy rain. New warning now extended into Gravel Switch. If you're watching from Gravel Switch, you have about 3 or 4 minutes before the heaviest rain arrives. And usually the leading edge, right where Mark is drawing on that storm track, is where some of the worst winds are anticipated. So Perryville, Harrodsburg, Danville, which is just outside of Kentuckiana in around 20 to 25 minutes. Nicholasville, just outside of Kentuckiana, it is moving that way. There's Campbellsville, the heaviest rain, without lightning, by the way, is now just to your east, still under that severe thunderstorm warning. As you look to Clementsville, basically in between Campbellsville and Clementsville is where we do have that wind threat extending down through Adair County. So we look at Ely, Dunnville, Clemensville, 5 to 6 minutes really in Clemensville right now is when you need to be preparing for some of those winds. This is only a few miles wide, so the worst conditions, maybe a 10-minute window as it works on through, and then we get into steady rain. The morning commute is going to be really, really bad here in Louisville Metro, not because of severe weather, but because the rain shield goes all the way back past Evansville. We've already pumped in over an inch of rain in many locations. There's puddles this big on some of the roads, so getting to work and school will take extra time, and that's why we do have many delays. Back farther to the south, where we did have possible tornadoes in some locations, it is mainly just rain. You might catch a random lightning strikes, but overall, there's going to be a lot of wind. That's something to focus on. After this severe threat leaves in the next 30 to 45 minutes, the winds today will be howling 35 to possibly 50 miles per hour. So if we didn't bring down some tree limbs and they're hanging there dangling, the wind speeds through the morning and afternoon with this strong low pressure could easily bring down some of those hanging limbs and things like that. And then it turns much colder. With a snow chance, some snow showers could fly later tonight as that cold air rushes in. So the next 2 to 4 hours, heavy rain, the morning commute, not fun, but at least we're talking about things gradually winding down, Candace, as it moves off to the east. And we have power outages, we have school delays. What a mess.
We'll get to all those things. And just as you were saying, Linda on Facebook was saying, remind everybody, this ponding water is a real problem. She's already seen a couple of people get stuck in some ponding water down in Valley Station. MSD says sewers, storm drains can overflow up to 48 hours after you have this heavy rain, so be careful about that. Let's show you the outage map from LG&E. You see these triangles all over the map, light blue, green, dark blue. Those are smaller outages, but some of your biggest ones are going to be in Hillview. That's the absolute biggest one we've seen. It's the red one here. Got about 2,500 people without power down in Hillview this morning. Another big one is up just inside the Watterson Expressway, Indian Hills area, St. Matthews area, 1,246 people without power just inside the Watterson Expressway at Brownsboro Road. Another outage of about 540 customers affected just outside the Watterson, right on that line up US 42. Then there's some scattered outages. Handful of folks up in Orchard Grass Hills. This is past Worthington, up on 42 as well. 62 people without power there. So this is a look at your whole outage map. Biggest outage in Hillview. Southern Indiana, some small outages reported by Duke Energy down in Floyd County, but that's all we're hearing out of Southern Indiana right now. there are a number of delays with schools in southern Indiana, and Sterling has that list for us.
Yes, Candice, the first one we want to mention, JCPS, you are open and on time. We do have some more schools that just called in, making our list that are on a 2-hour delay. Let's take a look at that list. Christian Academy of Indiana, you're on a 2-hour delay. Clarksville Community Schools, 2-hour delay. East Washington County School, 2-hour delay. Floyd County Head Start, you are closed today. Greater Clark County Schools, 2-hour delay. Marion County, you are on a 1-hour delay. And New Albany, Floyd County, 2-hour. Providence High School, delayed 2 hours. Rock Creek Community Academy, 2 hours. Southwest Jefferson County, Hanover, you were delayed 2 hours. Scott County District 1 and 2, again a 2-hour delay. Washington County Schools, 1-hour delay. And West Clark Community Schools, 2-hour delay. If you want more school closing information, you can always log on to our website. That's WDRB.com. On the upper left-hand corner, just look for school delays and closings. Let's check in with meteorologist Jude Redfield, who's standing by with an update. Jude.
Hey, thanks, Sterling. And Jeremy Kappell is getting some new information in at our weather station. A trampoline in Campbellsville that was basically flipped up in the air.
Apparently, yeah, a trampoline in the power lines in Campbellsville, and I have no doubt we're going to hear more of that with those wind gust reports. Wind gust report just came in from Adair County, by the way, of 48 miles per hour. No reports of a tornado on the ground, though, so far out of the Adair County or Columbia area, fortunately, but I guess we'll see how that goes. A lot of reports, though, as we've been mentioning, of power outages, Hillview and Highview, both those areas hit pretty hard, it sounds like, by the storm. We've got reports of power lines down in the Middletown area and trees across the road, Galena, Edwardsville Road. That's very close to my house up in Floyd Central Land. And guys, it's only a 5:40.
Yeah, wait till daylight.
Just wait, exactly.
We start to get more people out on the roads. There's going to be some, country roads that no one's even been on yet this morning. So you're going to be busy getting more and more updates.
On my way into work, and of course this is well before the thunderstorms arrived, there were already tree branches down just from the gradient winds that we were seeing out there. Lots of tree branches. Mark's, he's making fun of me because I ran over a tree branch a little bit earlier. It got caught in the undercarriage of my car. Anyway, of course, with the storms, we do expect much more in the way of damage reports out of here. The Weather Service was issuing warnings on the order of for winds to 70 to 80 miles per hour. You don't see that every day.
No, and I think a big problem later on today is going to be that wind advisory at tree limbs and things like that that might not have been brought down totally, just hanging there. We're going to have gusts today, 45 to maybe 50 miles per hour because of this strong low pressure. So more potential issues later on today with power outages and tree limbs coming down.
The winds turning directions as well later on today.
And it's a cold wind. We're going to focus on some snow shower chances coming up in just a bit. Right now, still looking at radar, watching those heavy thunderstorms move off to the east. Severe weather for eastern sections of Kentucky and the latest radar update when we come back. Talking about our severe weather threat, just a sampling in the overnight of what's happened while we were asleep. And this is just the beginning of reports coming in the next couple of hours. Once the sun comes up, we will continue to litter this map with more and more reports. There's a wind damage report just north of E-Town. Here in Jefferson County, that line bowed out. We had numerous areas, possible tornadoes near Elizabeth. We had some of those winds possibly gusting 60 to 70 miles per hour. So this is just the beginning of storm reports coming in. Let's talk about what's happening right now in StormView HD radar as we track severe weather for the far eastern and southeastern sections of Kentucky. And you look for the red sliver highlighted in this orange. It's going to be over in a couple minutes. The severe risk is greatly diminishing. So here's StormView HD radar. And if we can put this in motion so I can show you what's been happening over the last 2 to 3 hours, you have green and yellow. This is all non-severe. But the problem is you go to get in your car right now. You try to get to work and school. There's going to be tree limbs to drive through. There's going to be puddles really high to drive through. And basically, it's back through Carbondale, Paducah, Evansville. And you can see with it going up to the north and northeast, it's going to be here for a while. Once we get after rush hours, when the heavy rain winds down, all that severe weather now central and eastern Kentucky, sliding outside of Kentucky. And the forecast will actually focus on much colder air. We peaked around 70 degrees in the overnight. Well, now temperatures will fall during the afternoon. You might actually see a little sunshine for a couple hours today, adding some instability, pop-up showers late in the day, and then maybe some snow showers later on tonight as all of this cold air wraps in. Now, we're not looking at significant snow accumulations, but there will be some areas, most likely with those wind-driven snow showers that pick up quick coverings, and with rapidly falling temperatures down into the 20s, you know, tomorrow morning there could be some icy roads here and there with dustings of snow. So we go from the heavy rain and severe weather to the Arctic air, and even more snow chances coming up in that forecast. Candace, what a mess. And you don't have a lot of good news, do you?
I've got better news, actually.
Okay.
Because sometimes these outages are connected to a transformer, they're able to bring a lot of people up at one time. So I'll show you the outage map again from LG&E, and that red triangle down at Hillview is gone. We're getting notes from people on Facebook who say the power's back on. We did have 2,500 without power down in Hillview, but now that is back on. Same thing up here. You notice in the Indian Hills area, just inside the Watterson, in Louisville at Brownsboro Road, power back on to those 1,200 people who were without it. So now you just see scattered outages. Sometimes those take a little bit longer because they have to go out and assess whether it's a result of a downed tree limb as opposed to one station where they can bring a lot of people back up at one time. But some good news about those larger outages, that people do have their power back. Mike Marshall has a report of a road closing in southern Indiana. We want to go to him to get a little bit more information on what's happening there. Mike?
Okay, Candace, what we have is basically just west of Salem, Indiana this morning. You're going to find, excuse me, just east of Salem, Indiana, we have State Road 160. That is closed off just 2 miles east of Salem. That's because of some down power lines in the area. We're going to have to redirect people. Of course, a very busy road coming out of Salem. And we've also had some reports of a home damage, one roof there, a couple of barns with some wind damage, and there's no word on when State Road 160 will reopen. That all coming in from the Washington County Sheriff's Office. And we'll give you some more reports of damage as the storm rolls through Kentuckiana, coming up next here at WDRB in the Morning.
I want to let you know portions of Adair County now under a tornado warning. We're going to take you down to the south. This is only going to last for maybe 5 more minutes. It's just this chunk of Adair County right here on 76 where there's some weak rotation being detected by the radar. This will head out of Kentuckiana in the next 5 to 10 minutes, impacting 127 right there. Gusty winds, some brief rotation noted aloft in this storm, tracking it to the east-northeast, again towards Teddy in 5 to 10 minutes, and then over towards Gilpin in around 12 minutes. We will have more radar updates coming up after this break. For now, new tornado warning far eastern Adair County. In 5 to 10 minutes, it will be out of your neck of the woods.
From Louisville, WDRB News in the Morning starts now.
Good morning and welcome to WDRB in the Morning for a very eventful Wednesday morning. I'm Candace Clifft.
And I'm Sterling Riggs. It's also been an extremely busy morning. Let's get straight to Jude Redfield for the latest on our forecast. Good morning, Jude.
Good morning. Howling winds continuing. We are very close to winding down this severe weather outbreak. We still have a tornado warning for the far eastern sections of Adair County. A couple minutes from now, it's going to be over. But right now, I want to go to Stormview HD radar and show you the area of greatest concern. Heavy rain, Louisville Metro. There is no risk for severe weather right now in Louisville Metro. Adair County, 2-3 minutes from now, it is done. You will be finished with this tornado warning. It technically goes for another 15 to 20 minutes, but that will be outside of Adair County. There was some weak rotation on the radar. Let me take you up to the north, just outside of Washington, Marion, Taylor counties, finding that severe thunderstorm warning. We now have a new tornado warning that is just to the east of Gravel Switch. The worst of this storm is now to the east of Kentuckiana. There was some brief rotation in that one. That is over towards Danville, Kentucky. If you know anyone near Danville or Nicholasville, there is some rotation moving their way. Give them a call quickly and let them know. Farther to the north, you can see this stuff is just outside of Kentuckiana now. We're going to switch the show from the damaging wind threat to more of heavy rain and gusty breezes in the order of 30 to 45 miles per hour. Let's give you a wide perspective. If you're just waking up at this 6 o'clock hour, Stormview HD radar in the overnight, if you didn't wake up, boy, you're a heavy sleeper, because just about every location in Kentuckiana went under some sort of a warning. And now you can see moving away closer to the I-75 corridor is the worst of the storms. For Louisville and the I-65 corridor back to the west over towards Evansville, we have brighter colors. the orange and the yellow, but we do not have anything severe, but that heavy rain will cause some serious problems today getting to where you need to go. Inside that storm, as we take you down to the south, you can see that green and red. It's broad rotation. That's the velocity image. So at this point, the tornado threat is moving away from Kentucky, and the tornado watch will be expiring for Shelby, Spencer, Nelson, LaRue County, Greene County in the coming hours as we do start to look a little bit better. I want to give you a wider perspective here at StormView HD radar just to talk about a quick outlook with the forecast for the afternoon, for the mid-morning, the late morning and afternoon time frame. There's going to be a dry slot. There might even be a few sun breaks that develop as this swings on through what you have in Missouri and Arkansas. Don't be fooled, because after that, cold air rushes in late today into tonight, and some of these flurries and snow showers will be flying here in Kentuckiana as we go from spring to winter in one day. It's that kind of a setup that prompted all the severe weather. So we'll have more updates with the radar coming up in a few minutes. Right now I want to toss it to Candace and Sterling, who've been getting reports with school closings and power outages and things like that. And also around Elizabeth, Indiana, we did have a report of a possible tornado touchdown. More to come.
Rachel Collier is in Elizabeth gathering information, so we hope to hear from her shortly. Mike Wedding sent us this photo online. He lives right next to Deem Lake near Borden, Indiana. It looks light because he said he used some time lapse to try to lighten it a little bit so you could see, but he said this is what happens near my house. A lot of pooling and ponding water in different areas because Jude was talking about the very heavy rainfall we saw in addition to the wind. And as we've been talking about, Sterling, we've got a number of school closings, especially in southern Indiana.
Yes, we want to let you know, JCPS, you are open and on time if we can. Let's go ahead and take a look at that list of school closings. I'll run down that list for you. Christian Academy of Indiana, you are on a 2-hour delay. Clarksville Community Schools, 2-hour delay. East Washington County Schools, 2-hour delay as well. Floyd County Head Start, you are closed today. Greater Clark County Schools, 2-hour delay. Marion County, you're on a 1-hour delay. New Albany, Floyd County, 2-hour delay. Providence High School, 2-hour delay. Rock Creek Community Academy, you are on a 2-hour delay as well. Southwest Jefferson County, Hanover, 2-hour delay. Scott County Schools, District 1 and 2, 2-hour delay this morning. Washington County Schools, you are delayed 1 hour. And West Clark Community School, you are delayed 2 hours. And you can find the school closing list on our website. That's WDRB.com on the upper left-hand side. Just click on school delays and closings. We also have some power outages to report this morning. Let's get to Candace Clifft.
All right, thank you, Sterling. If you don't mind, on my computer, if you could pull up the LG&E outage map, we'll give you a look at the progress they are making. In Hillview, we had about 2,500 customers without power. That's been resolved. The 1,200 without power near Indian Hills, just inside the Watterson at Brownsboro Road, that's been resolved. And now if you take a look at the outage map this morning, scattered outages, anywhere you see light blue, it's just a handful. 3 customers affected here, just a handful. Even the green is a lower amount. It's below 50, I believe. So you see 49 customers affected. This is near St. Matthews, Windy Hills. And then as you go outside the Watterson Expressway, Linden, Anchorage, LaGrange Road area, Middletown. It's just a handful of customers in each of these places. And LG&E goes out, they take a look at it, and in some cases they'll give you an indication on when they expect to have everybody back on. But we are seeing them make progress in getting power back on this morning. Let's get back over to Jude for another update on our weather.
Thanks, Candace. And Jeremy Kappell, you've been getting reports coming in. We're still hours away from daylight, but already trees coming down, possible tornado in Elizabeth. What else?
Yeah, we look forward to that report from Rachel, who's out in Elizabeth right now inspecting damage. Most recently, a lot of flooding reports beginning to trickle in. As Candace mentioned, some flooding out in the Borden area. Also, Flaherty, Facebook report of some flooding up in that neighborhood. Candy Patton Broughton from Newcastle, she said that when the storm moved in, it sounded like her roof was literally getting lifted off of her home. It was that loud outside when those storms roared in. Also, the National Weather Service is reporting 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts were measured in Campbellsville. That's in Taylor County. Also, a 55-mile-per-hour wind gust was measured there in Lebanon. That's in Marion County. Obviously, a pretty big storm system. Fortunately, we're getting the worst of the weather behind us now with that severe, or I should say tornado watch does continue for our far eastern counties. Guys, officially that goes until noon. But once you see that red line, that squall line move to the east, really we are expecting conditions to improve. And for all practical purposes, the severe threat has pretty much ended across our area, with the exception of northern or eastern portions of Adair County, where that warning does continue for a little bit longer. But now it's more of a rain. We did see that burst of very heavy rainfall when that squall line made its way into the area a bit earlier, and now we have what we call stratiform precipitation. Lots of yellows, lots of oranges on your map. That's going to roll through the area. The ground is saturated, so this could lead to some flooding issues. I haven't heard of any type of a flooding advisory being issued yet by the National Weather Service, but certainly that looks like that is a possibility. And I'm sure we'll be getting more of those wind reports. By the way, if you have a damage report, please submit it to me on Facebook. You can find me, Jeremy Kappell. That's 2 P's, 2 L's. My last name, by the way, does begin with a K. Also, you can send it to our WDRB weather page. We'll be monitoring those reports there as well. And you can find the whole weather team on Twitter as well. Let's toss back over to Jude, who has more with our newest member of the WDRB weather team, Rick DeLuca. Hey, guys.
Hey there. Rick DeLuca has been looking at storm reports coming in. And as we check out this map, Rick, I mean, it's amazing to already see everything starting to pop up, but in the next couple of hours, we're going to have more, aren't we?
That's right. I mean, this is just the beginning. This map absolutely littered with all sorts of reports coming in right now. So we'll dive in and take a look at some of the spots and some of the actual reports we are getting here. So we'll start with the wind, because I think that's one of the biggest stories right now. We have reports coming in, wind damage from a thunderstorm, trees, power lines down. That's at Pleasure Ridge Park. And this is just one of many locations seeing some of these reports right now. So we'll take you a little further north, and it does look like more reports, a roof blown off a residence, and that's closest city is Salem right there. So thunderstorms barreling through the area, causing damages, wind bringing down trees and power lines. I think that's the one concern this morning. A lot of people waking up without power. So we're going to continue to monitor the situation. We'll take another look down further south into Kentucky, where we have more wind reports coming in. This one, high wind damage. Wind gusting around 55 miles an hour, and we saw wind gusts, Jude, up towards 70, 80 miles an hour in some locations with that bow coming through. I mean, that was just extreme wind damage through downtown Louisville and other locations along that line. Just saw incredible amounts of wind.
In that report that you showed up in Salem in Washington County, at that time we did have a tornado warning, and there were a few areas that we were watching on the radar where there was a lot of rotation. The National Weather Service is going to be very busy today going out to multiple locations to try to, see whether it was straight line wind damage or tornado damage. But so far, already quite a few reports. Elizabeth has been an area hit very hard with a possible tornado, so we'll have more on that coming up. But, in the meantime, what we're going to do is look at this radar. If you're just waking up worried about getting blasted with severe weather, the threat is now off to the east. We will see a lot of heavy rain, another inch of rain just in time for the morning commute. But so far, the severe weather risk is now off to the east, pretty much in the all clear. We'll talk about snow showers in the forecast coming up. We'll talk about temperatures into the teens. Goodbye springtime. Winter is back, and we have multiple chances of snow to look at coming up. All right, good morning. I have some great news to pass along. The severe weather concern is now outside of Kentucky, and all of the warnings now pressing towards I-75. We still have a weather threat in the form of very heavy rain, but you can see where the winds are currently gusting. That's around Danville over towards Lexington. We are in the all clear. It's still going to be real breezy. Even without these big-time thunderstorms, winds today could gust to around 45, maybe 50 miles per hour, and there's a lot of rain to deal with for this morning drive time. We look into southern Indiana, rain all over the place. Now, a lot of times you see the bright colors and you instantly think, okay, we've got severe weather. We have big thunderstorms. There is no lightning up in through southern Indiana all the way back down to western and southwestern sections of Kentucky. But the rain will come down in buckets when you get underneath some of these orange and yellow cores. Off to the northeast, we've had a lot of ponding. We're going to pick up another inch, maybe inch and a half of rain. And it's going to come down in a 2 to 3 hour window, so watch out for some localized flooding. In a few minutes, I'll talk about transitioning from springtime to winter. We have some snow in the outlook, and prepare for temperatures dipping into the teens. When all of that arrives coming up in a few minutes. Mike Marshall, this does not bode well for you as people hit the roads this morning, does it?
It does not. And what we've had this morning, Jude, we've had, of course, a lot of rain coming down through the area. And one area in particular, when we get up into Salem, where we have 160, that has been closed off this morning. We've had some utility poles broken down. Here we are in Salem, about 2 miles east of Salem. That's where 160 is blocked. So make some plans to get around that here this morning throughout the daytime. Now, let's take a look. We've had a lot of reports of high water. Matter of fact, one of the tri-mark signs on 65 was alerting drivers to that. It said, the roadways, a lot of water, ponding water, so use some caution. And then we've had traffic a little slow moving here, 65 southbound across the Kennedy. What we have here, we have a car broken down, exit 0. Police are on scene assisting, but we had that far right-hand lane is blocked. Here's the traffic. See all the headlights? That's all that traffic making its way 65 southbound across the Kennedy Bridge this morning. So we're going to be just a little slow across the Ohio River. Keep in mind, hydroplaning has been a big, big problem this morning with this pooling, ponding water. From the Oxmoor Auto Group Traffic Center, I'm Mike Marshall with Beat the Traffic.
Mike, thank you. Rachel Collier is in Elizabeth, Indiana, where we've had some damage reports this morning. She joins us by phone, and she sent some pictures so you can see what she's looking at there.
Rachel, what are we looking at here? Explain this to us. You just arrived on the scene where obviously we can see a barn has been damaged, and also understand that there are power lines down in that area. Good morning.
Hey there. Yes, we've been here really just about 5 minutes, and I spoke with a young man. He says it's his parents' property. He said this farmland has been in his family for 200 years. And the barn, the red barn that you see, there was one here that was actually washed down the Ohio River in 1937 with the Great Flood. So this one was built, they believe, in the late 1930s. So it is well over 70 years old. And as you can see from the pictures, the damage is extensive. Sides completely blown off. The roof is ripped off, curled up on top. And also, if you see the picture of the white building, that's actually a really old church. It was just being used for storage. It also belongs to the family. Extensive damage there as well. Now, what the young man told me was that he lives down the street, and it just happened really quick. He said it sounded like a vacuum noise, just a really big sucking sound. He said they took cover in the bathroom of their basement, and he said it was over in an instant. He said just 5 minutes after it was done, they walked down the road, saw all the damage here, and couldn't believe it. He said that he thought he'd be walking up on the scene to maybe some scraps of metal that had flown off the roof. But no, as you can see from the pictures, this barn is quite dilapidated. And the church, some side blown out there too in the front. Now, power lines, I'm not sure about anywhere in this area. When I got here originally, I was being extra cautious, and our viewers need to do this as well. We saw a wire down on the ground, and make sure you're very cautious around those. Don't go near them. The property owners here told me that it was, in fact, a phone line down, so we were okay. Not sure about any other power lines in the area. I know that there are power outages across Kentuckiana. So, guys, you can see from the pictures the extensive damage here in Elizabeth, Indiana. What we're hearing, maybe one of the hardest hit areas with the wind. Guys?
All right, thank you very much. Rachel Collier sending us these pictures from Elizabeth, Indiana, and giving us that report as she is there this morning.
That's around the Highway 111 area and Highway 211 area. If you know where Stoner Hill Road near the golf course is, that's where those pictures came from. We also have some school delays to report.
We do. A number of schools in southern Indiana delayed this morning. We'll just try to run through the list for you to give you a better idea. Christian Academy of Indiana, Clarksville Community Schools, East Washington County Schools, all on a 2-hour delay. Floyd County Head Start, you are closed today. Greater Clark Schools delayed 2 hours. Hart County Schools delayed 1 hour this morning.
And let's continue to go down the list. I have to update things here. Marion County Schools, you are on a 1-hour delay. New Albany Floyd County School, Providence High School, 2-hour delay. Rock Creek, we just mentioned that one. Scott County School District 1 and 2, you are on a 2-hour delay. Washington County Schools, 1-hour delay. West Clark Community School, you are on a 2-hour delay. JCPS, you are open and on time this morning.
Southwest Jefferson County, Hanover, Indiana, you're on a 2-hour delay as well. Let's take a quick look at the LG&E outage map. I'm going to refresh, so that's why it's going to go blank for just a second and give you an idea of what's happening. You can see scattered outages right now on the Louisville metro area, but they are small.